Hello class, we are now in the last lesson for this course or for this semester, and we will talk about the minimizing and maximizing business impact, and we will talk specifically about the cost effective analysis. So in the previous two lessons we discussed about the cost benefits. So for this last lesson or last online discussion, we will talk about the cost effective. Okay, cost effective, not cost benefits. So here's the expectations of this lesson. After going through this lesson, you are expected to first define cost effective analysis, and lastly identify the importance of cost effective analysis. So before we will jump in our lesson, we will have a pre-test first. So question number 1, which of the following is true about the cost-effective analysis? A. Cost-effectiveness analysis is an alternative to cost-benefit analysis. Letter B. Cost-effectiveness analysis compares the relative cost to the outcomes or effects of two or more courses of action. Or C. Cost-effectiveness analysis measures the cost in a common monetary value and the effectiveness of an option in terms of physical units. Or letter D, none of the above. So which of the following is true about the effective analysis? So the answer for question number 1 is letter D, all of the above. It means that these three statements were true. Question number 2, which of the following statements is not true? A. The best cost effectiveness analysis takes a broad view of cost and benefits, not direct and indirect, but has longer term effects. Letter B. Information on cost, benefits, and risk is rarely known with certainty, especially when one looks to the future. Or C. Cost effectiveness analysis allows the comparison of the cost effectiveness of one policy to another policy. Or letter D, none of the above. So which of the following statement is not true? The answer for question number 2 is letter A. The best cost effectiveness analysis takes a broad view of cost and benefits, not direct or indirect, but has longer term effects. So these three letter B, C, and D, or I mean B and C, are true statements. Now let's proceed to question number 3. Which of the following inputs is included in the cost-effective analysis? A. Net cost is the intervention costs minus averted materials and production costs. Letter B. The changes in health outcomes are outcomes with the intervention in place minus outcomes without the intervention in place. Or C. Both A and B. Or D. None of the above. So which of the following inputs is included in the cost-effective analysis? So the answer for question number 3 is letter C, both A and B. It means that these two statements were included in the cost-effective analysis. Question number 4, cost-effective analysis is commonly used in A. Transportation, B. Healthcare, C. Employment, or D. Poverty. So cost-effective analysis is commonly used in letter B, healthcare. 5th question, which of the following statements does not describe the cost-effective analysis? A. Cost-effective analysis facilitates comparison between different treatment strategies and support users in the administration of resources. Letter B. Cost-effectiveness analysis helps identify ways to redirect the resources to achieve more. Or C. Cost-effectiveness analysis demonstrates only the utility of the allocating resources as effective interventions. Or letter D, none of the above. So which of the following statements does not describe the cost-effective analysis? The answer for last question, letter C, cost-effectiveness analysis demonstrates only the utility of allocating resources as effective interventions. So now let's proceed to our formal discussion about the cost effectiveness or cost effectiveness analysis. So we can see here in the picture that there is a like a way. So in the left side it's about the cost, and then on the right side it's about the efficiency. So the CEA or cost effectiveness analysis, it is an alternative to cost benefit analysis. So if we no longer use the cost benefit analysis or CBA, so we have this alternative and we will use the cost effectiveness analysis. So the technique compares the relative cost to the outcomes or the effects. So that is the other term for outcomes. What is that? Effects. Okay. Other term for outcomes is effect. Again, the technique compares the relative cost to the outcomes, or we call it effects, of two or more courses of action. So the CEA, or the cost-effective analysis, is most useful when analysis face constraints that prevent them from conducting a cost-benefit analysis. So the most common constraint is the inability of the analyst to monetize the benefits. So if we cannot able to, monetize the benefits, that's the time that we are going to use the cost-effective analysis. So the CEA is commonly used in, for example, is healthcare, um, whether it is difficult to put a value in the outcomes, but where outcomes themselves can be counted and compared. Example of that is the number of lives saved. Okay, for example, in the medical field or in the hospitals. Now I'm going to share it with you, just like a formula here. Okay, the cost effective ratio, CE, cost effective ratio. The CEA again, the CEA or the cost effective analysis measures cost in a common monetary value and the effectiveness of an option in terms of physical units because the two are incommensurable. So they cannot be added or subtracted to obtain a single criterion measures. So one can only compute the ratio of cost to effectiveness in the following ways. So for example, CE or the cost effective ratio is equal to C1 over E1, the cost over the effectiveness. Okay, so the first equation have represents the cost per unit of effectiveness. That is, for example, pesos spent per life saved. Okay, how many pesos being used to save the life of a certain person. Okay, if we will have an example in the healthcare area. So the projects can be rank ordered by the CE or the cost effective ratio from lowest to the highest. So the most common effective project has the lowest CE ratio. And the second equation is that the effectiveness per unit of the cost. Example, lives saved per peso spent. The project should be ranked from highest to the lowest EC ratios or effectiveness of the cost. Okay, or the outcomes of the cost. So the outputs to be ranked by cost effectiveness analysis will often be social or environmental. Okay, again, the outputs to be ranked by cost effectiveness analysis will often be social, uh, social or environmental. Again, this is as we have discussed in our previous courses in the macro perspective. We discussed about the triple bottom line, the social, environmental, and in the monetary or financial. So again, the outputs to be ranked by cost-effective analysis is often be what? Social or environmental. So for example, work in health economics is looking at the cost effectiveness of different treatments to the patients. Okay, so how many lives that they able to save because of these projects. So the question is what output? Again, the other term for output is effect. Okay, what output or what effect does a cost effectiveness analysis provide? Okay, what is the outcome or what is the result or what is the effect of the if we are going to use the cost effectiveness analysis. So the CEA or the cost effective analysis are able to provide information on the health and cost impacts of an intervention compared to an alternative intervention or the status quo. So if the net costs of an intervention are positive, which means a more effective intervention is more costly. That is why also in the medicine, as you can also observe, the more that the medicine is expensive, the more it is more efficient or it is more effective. Okay, so the results are presented as a cost-effective ratio. So the cost effectiveness ratio is the net cost divided by the changes in the health outcomes. So for example, examples include cost per case of disease that is prevented or cost per death averted. However, if the net costs are negative, okay, the net costs are negative, which means a more effective intervention is less costly. So the results are reported as net cost savings. Okay, so now let's proceed to this graph or picture here. Application of cost effectiveness analysis. So the example was conducted by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in the United States. So what they did, they compared the childhood vaccination, okay, the childhood um, vaccination to the status quo of no vaccination. Okay, so there are two. They compared about the childhood vaccination and to those who are not vaccinated. So the cost of implementing the program are less than the medical and productivity cost averted. So because the intervention is cost saving, the results are not presented as a cost effective ratio. Instead, they are presented as net cost savings. So the intervention is more effective and less costly. As we can see here, the cost of implementation of the childhood vaccination had this $7.5 billion. And it was it has the cost averted. It means that the included here is the medical costs and productivity losses. We have this $76.4 billion. So the net costs have this negative, okay? As you can see here, negative. The net cost is the negative value means cost savings. So this is the source from the Office of the Associate Director of the Policy and Strategy in Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. And so we are now in the last slide in the valuing part. We need to reflect on this. It's easier and more cost effective to maintain good health than to regain it once it's lost by Kenneth Cooper. Thank you guys for listening and having with me with the entire semester. This is school year 2023-2024. Hoping that all of you will finish strong and able to pass in this course and also with your other courses for this semester. And looking forward that we will meet each other again, and especially in your final examination. I hope that every one of you will be well prepared and get this passing score. So thank you so much and see you next time. Bye bye.